Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. I have another film review today for you and it is Ghost in the Shell starring Scarlett Johansson. The film based on the anime movie from the 90s, the legendary anime movie from the 90s. Now I'm going to make a confession here. This is either going to really wind you up or it might not. I've never seen Ghost in the Shell. I don't really watch anime. It's not really my thing. But initially this film I had no interest in really at all. But I actually thought, well, maybe going into this thing blind might actually do me a favour. So I've decided to watch it, not knowing anything about the original Ghost in the Shell. So I went in completely blind to this. Now, I am aware that there was some controversy in regards to the casting of Scarlett Johansson, but it's fairly clear to me that most of that uproar was the usual internet rage monsters, and it's mainly Western opinions saying everything's being whitewashed, whereas there's actual video footage out there of the people in Japan being asked what they thought of the casting of Scarlett Johansson, and they thought she looked amazing and that should be absolutely fine in the role. So if their own people in their own culture have no issue at all with this, so why would anybody else? So I certainly don't have any issue with it. And for me, all bets were off as soon as they decided to turn Starbuck into a woman in Battlestar Galactica. And that turned out brilliantly, but I was outraged at the time. So they can cast whoever they want as far as I'm concerned in any film, it doesn't bother me. So Ghost in the Shell, what's it about? Well, it's about a character called Major, played by Scarlett Johansson, who we see at the beginning is turned into an android, if you like. Her brain is saved from some kind of major accident and it is placed into some robotic shell, hence the Ghost in the Shell. And immediately, which kind of baffled me, why we made this miraculous creation, would you immediately put them in like the military or the police or whatever it is? She's like put in this unit, and she comes and you see like a year later and she's like this combat unit and she works with like this police thing, and she takes down criminals, etc, etc. But as the film progresses, she wants to learn more about who she was and her past because she's seen these glitches and she doesn't quite understand what's happening, and there's like a cyber terrorist out there and there seems to be some connection between them, and slowly but surely she sees some kind of conspiracy going on and there's been a cover up, etc, etc, and she decides to try and figure out what's going on. I don't really want to say anything else. If you've not seen the movie or anything, I don't want to spoil the story. Needless to say, though, the major negative I have with this movie is that I found the whole thing fairly predictable. What I thought was going to happen about 40 minutes into the movie actually happened. It turned out how I had it in my head, and like I say, I've never seen anything about Ghost in the Shell before. So how the story ended up turning out was how I imagined it was going to do. So I found it pretty predictable, but saying that, I still enjoyed the movie. I thought visually it was absolutely outstanding. I mean, take your breath away outstanding. It reminded me very much of Blade Runner, the aesthetics and like the advertisement boards that come into life and all this kind of stuff. But it also reminded me a little bit of the game Deus Ex, with the augmentations for the humans and all that kind of stuff, which I quite like. I say Deus Ex is one of my favourite games. So the mood and feel of the movie was brilliant. The action, set pieces, everything was just so slick and beautiful to watch. The musical score, my favourite band's Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark, so I love electronic music. And the score on this was just wow, amazing. It was probably the star of the show. So there's nothing really here for me to dislike other than I found the story a little bit predictable. But it's based on a like they say, the anime from the 90s, so I suppose they couldn't really stray too far from the source material. Whether that story is predictable or not, they've got to film it that way. So I don't really blame it for that. It kind of a modern film in the way it looked and felt and sounded, with a kind of old-fashioned, predictable story. But um, for someone going in completely blind to this, I have to say I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was very, very good. I don't think it's the best sci-fi I've seen. I don't even think it's the best sci-fi I've seen in the last year or two. But I did enjoy it very much, and I do think it's a high quality movie. And I think Scarlett Johansson did a stunning job. Initially, it kind of concerned me, her performance, because it started off quite bland, but I guess that was the point. I think that's what they wanted it to be. But I kind of was worried a bit earlier, and I thought she was trying to do like a bland version of the Terminator almost. But to say that she was like a robot with a human brain, and then discovering these feelings and emotions and discovering the past, I thought she kind of drip fed us a performance throughout the movie, and it was quite a subtle but memorable performance. And the ending actually, I thought, was very, very moving. I thought they absolutely nailed that part. It actually moved me quite a lot, the ending. So yes, I'm glad I saw this movie. I might even try out the anime movie next, just to compare the two. You never know. But yeah, if you've got two minds about this movie, yeah, it's worth giving it a go.